What's up, guys, and welcome to a new episode of Spartan Ownership. Today I want to give you guys 10 lessons that I learned from Seneca, one of the best philosophers when it comes to being a better man and a better warrior. Seneca was an ancient philosopher that was born in 4 BC and died in 65 AD. I really like Stoicism and hence Seneca because Stoicism is often about controlling your mind, not letting things get under your skin, being cool under pressure, and transforming the negatives in life into positives. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the 10 lessons I learned from Seneca. Lesson number 1, I shall never be ashamed of citing a bad author if the line is good. I like this quote because it's a strength to be able to read a book, read a philosopher, read a thinker, and look at their writing, and just because something doesn't appeal to you about their writing, and maybe they're a bad author, it's still a strength to be able to find the good, find that golden nugget, and just take it. So I like that quote a lot. Lesson number 2, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This one is extremely true. How often have you conjured up some scenario in your mind that never ended up happening, yet you were extremely stressed by it, you had anxiety, maybe even had a panic attack due to all the thinking, stressing out, and worrying you've been doing? The truth is, most of the stuff that we're worried about in life never even ends up happening. So this quote reminds us to stay in the present moment and to not overthink things too much. Lesson number 3, only time can heal what reason cannot. Have you ever been in an emotional state where you were trying to tell yourself how to think more clearly, you were trying to rationalize the situation, but your emotions just kept on prevailing? This is what Seneca means by time being a better healer than reason in those situations. Because if you just give yourself some time to relax, eventually your emotions will die down and you'll be able to detach yourself from the situation and thus see it more clearly and with more reason. Wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool. Oof, that's some good wisdom right there. So a fool is a slave to his wealth because his wealth drives him for more greed, for more stuff. He ends up cluttering his stuff, he ends up cluttering his life to the point where he can't focus on his purpose anymore, amongst a whole other shitload of problems that can happen. So a master and a wise man knows how to deal with wealth. Do you acquire wealth to get more things or more experiences is one way I like to look at it. For instance, a lot of my money goes towards experiences, goes towards seminars, goes towards books, goes towards things that are actually going to make me stronger and healthier and smarter and wiser, etc. A lot of people end up spending their wealth on stuff that ends up just distracting them from their purpose and puts them into debt eventually and maybe even ruins their health. We've seen it with countless celebrities that have gone through that path. So, are you a fool with your money or a wise man? And know that a fool is a slave to his wealth, and a wise man makes his wealth his slave. Lesson number 5, most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. What is Spartan ownership about if not self-mastery? And that is a big reason why I love Stoicism and I love Seneca's writings. He who is the most powerful is because he has himself in power. So self-mastery, self-control, extremely, extremely important in life and extremely important for every category of life. Whether it's your health, whether it's your relationships with your loved ones, with your friends, with your tribe, with your business colleagues. Self-control is extremely important because, especially in today's society, we are encouraged to let go of control in order to engage in pleasurable activities that really lead us nowhere, such as, instant gratification and all those other things. We're constantly being marketed to. I remember going past the gas station the other day and I saw a poster for Newport cigarettes and it had a big word, pleasure. So a lot of people are chasing pleasure, and that's just not right because self-control dictates you know how to control your mind, you know how to control your instincts so that you don't react to those impulses no matter how pleasurable the reward may seem. If you can do that, you can delay your gratification long enough to achieve your goals in any area of life. Lesson number 6, if you really want to escape the things that harass you, What you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. This is extremely key and has to do with self-control as well. If you know how to control yourself and discipline your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, you can change yourself sufficiently enough to radiate your own energy in whatever environment you happen to be in. So no matter what's going on outside in the outside world, you can choose your reaction and thus influence the present moment. So whatever is happening won't have much of an impact on you, since you'll be drawing your state from within. Lesson number 7, the day that the body has been dominated by pleasure, it will also be dominated by pain. I talk a lot about this one in Spartan Ownership, and recently I made a video about Miyamoto Musashi, the famous samurai, who said, never pursue pleasure for its own sake. So this is similar, because once you start pursuing pleasure for its own sake, you become like a rat in a dopamine device where they just give the rat dopamine and it keeps running back for more. Similar to like a drug addict or any sort of addict, really. When you take on a life of pursuing pleasure for its own sake, you become sort of worthless, and your life has no more meaning than the little dopamine rush that you get. So eventually the dopamine rushes you get from whatever pleasure you're pursuing, whether it's junk food, laziness, sloth, video games, pornography, whatever, it will end up in pain, because at the end of the day, none of those things really bring any lasting pleasure. Eventually you'll grow to be fat, stupid, your sex drive will decrease, you won't be able to talk to girls in real life, you'll never really make anything for your name, you'll never have any real sort of success. So at the end of the day, becoming addicted and pursuing pleasure and being dominated by it is only going to result in your pain, failure, mediocrity, and a whole shit ton of other negative consequences. Lesson number 8. We learn not in the school, but in life. Those that do, and those that teach, don't. Now that's not always right, but it's a common expression I heard growing up. And it basically means that if you constantly just think about life and think that you know all the answers, oftentimes you don't really do much about it in your actual life. A lot of the entrepreneurs, a lot of the successful people I know in my life haven't really read much books or even had much schooling. It's because they were too busy taking action. So a lot of the stuff that you encounter in your actual life, your experiences, is what ultimately results in your wisdom. And another great quote is, knowledge is knowing, wisdom is doing. So you may know a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it has to come down to action, and more action. So experience life, don't just think about it. Lesson number 9. We should every night call ourselves to an account. What infirmity have I mastered today? What passion opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired? Our vices will abort of themselves if they be brought every day to the shrift. I love this quote because it signifies the importance of a night ritual. I used to do a night ritual and still do one today. And the one I used to do basically went over all the things that I did throughout the day that I felt were positive and I felt that I learned something from. And by doing that, by constantly reflecting on all the things you did, you start to sort of build that mental muscle, and you start to look forward to coming home that night. Or say if you were waking up to this morning, you would start to look forward to getting home later on tonight and writing down everything that you accomplished, all the temptations you resisted, all the impulses that you resisted, all the skills that you have mastered, and it just gives you something to look forward to. So I think Seneca in this one really illustrates the importance of having a night ritual and a reflection time in your daily routine. And lesson number 10. People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. I really love that quote, and it's actually a quote that I mentioned at the speech I gave on my father's funeral. A lot of people spend most of their lives guarding their possessions, guarding their ego, guarding their reputation, but the one thing that we truly have the right to be stingy with at the end of the day is our time. I mean, let's face it, that's the one thing that if we waste it, we can never get it back. Money, if we waste it, yeah, we can get it back, we can win it back. Certain relationships, if they go downhill, certain food, whatever it is, a lot of things in your life, if you waste it, you can always get it back. But time, you will never get it back. So with that being said, guard your time wisely and don't be afraid to put people down, to say no to certain people for your time, and spend time doing things that move you towards your purpose. Don't just say yes to everybody as soon as they need you for a favor. Saying no is a tremendous skill set that will result in the investment of your time towards things that bring you closer to where you need to go in life, and thus will bring you closer to fulfillment, self-actualization, self-mastery. And yeah, that's a big thing we gotta reserve time for. How much time do you put in each day towards yourself, towards learning, towards self-mastery, towards your health, towards your relationships? Or is most of your time being squandered away by other people's agendas, by other people's desires for what they want you to do, such as your parents, people in certain relationships, whatever it is. So be stingy with your time. All right, guys, that was it. Those were the 10 lessons, and this is actually a little bonus 11th lesson if you watched until this point. And that is that Seneca always said that you can choose your parents. Now, what he means by that is the people that inspire you, the mentors, the philosophers that you read, whoever it is in your life that you feel would be a great mentor, you can mentally and sort of spiritually choose them as your parents instead. So if you didn't have such a great experience with your parents, then choosing another parent spiritually or mentally will give you that sort of sense of groundedness and of bonding that you may have lacked. So don't be afraid to choose one of your mentors mentally in your head as your parent. So with that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this stuff. I do put a lot of research into it, and of course I'll be coming out with a lot more videos like this. And if you're struggling with discipline or just having a tough time fitting in certain things into your schedule, check out SpartanAccountability.com. It's a online accountability mentorship program that I've developed, and it basically is a solution to those that are struggling with discipline and people that just want to be disciplined 100% of the time, people that want to never miss a day in the gym again, people that want to truly start forming habits in their lives that will take them to where they need to go. And also, if you love to work out at the gym, a great book I recommend is Body of a Spartan. You can get it in the link below. It's only $20, and it has really good pictures and descriptions of really great workouts that are specifically designed for you to get that masculine, intimidating physique. It's a great book that I personally follow for my bodybuilding routine. It's written by Victor Pride, and it is an affiliate product, meaning I will make a small commission off of it if you buy it, and that is at no extra charge to you whatsoever. So check it out. It also helps the channel grow. And other than that, comment, share, like this video. Let's keep moving forward, and I can't wait to come out with more content soon.